Hey, what's up, guys? I'm back for another deck profile here. Now, this is a deck, if you know me locally, which a lot of you don't, obviously, when we used to have locals and stuff, or play at locals, I actually played this deck a few times, minus the Numeron engine. I used to play pure Timelords. I think I played it twice at locals, just for like fun or whatever, and I won both times, which is kind of funny, but it was a couple years ago, so I wanted to revamp the deck because I was like, oh, dude, I'm trying to go back to like my rogue stuff, my rogue engine and whatnot. Instead of doing like straight meta every week, meta this, meta, everyone's like, I personally am tired of seeing like meta deck this, like it's just all the same shit. Mostly, whatever the fuck I was trying to say there. But yeah, guys. Also, you guys know last week I was the Dawn of Majesty sneak peek or whatever. I ended up winning the banner for my for the raffle or whatever, which is cool because these things are like $300+ or some shit. So without further ado, guys, I'm gonna show you this quick video, hot turbo Timelord Numeron, guys. Yeah, I'm gonna do it on the banner. I figured this was pretty fitting, right? I'm gonna go a little in depth with this deck. I know. The Timelord engine is kind of it's very interesting. It's you have to play very well with the deck in order for it to perform as expected. So I'm gonna go over this real quick. So my ratios right now for the Timelords is 3 Michions. This is the one. All Timelords have the same effect. Can't be special summoned from deck. You can normal summon if you have no monsters on the board. At the end of the battle phase, they all have an effect. So this one is the cut your opponent's life points in half, and it does not inflict damage. So even under Dark Ruler, it will half your opponent's life points, which is very nice. And then during the standby phase, it activates and shuffles itself back in the deck. All Time Lords have that same effect. So 3 Michion, and then 2 Medion. So this is the oldest one. This was the first one, I believe, maybe I'm wrong, that came out. So this one is same exact thing as I said. But at the end of the battle phase, it bounces all monsters on the board except itself back to the hand, including yours, and inflicts 300 damage to your opponent for each one bounced. So this card's just very good. Can you imagine, you always want to go second with this deck because you either want to kill them with the Numeron engine or control with the Time Lord. So, you'll Dark Ruler them and then Medion bounce their entire board that they just created, and they've used all their resources, everything's gone. So it's just they're just kind of oh, nice, dude. And then one Sandion. This card's actually insane. I'm going to show you a little. It's not like a combo, but it's something that I want to point out. Shout out to my boy Fee. I know you guys have heard me shout out Fee before. That's my homie. He's always the guy that knows the rulings and stuff when I have questions about stuff. But anyway, so Sandion, he's the only one that has attack points. He's 4K attack. And at the end of the battle phase, he inflicts 2,000 damage to your opponent. So keep this in mind. This is important. I just want to show you a quick way to beat your opponent. I'm also going to show you something with the Raffion. So this card, I only play one of this in the main because I'm going to show you the side deck. This is a deck you kind of have to learn how to side deck with. It's very hard to play just game ones with. Game ones are obviously in your favor if they don't know what you're playing, but if you keep playing game ones and they know what you're playing, which is usually what I do, play game ones, but I actually side deck a lot with this deck because I know that you have to side deck with this deck. So this card at the end of the battle phase, whatever it battled, it inflicts its attack points to your opponent's life points. So the main thing with this, which I'll show you later, you can probably guess where I'm going with this, but so one of those. And then one Zaphion. A lot of people remember this back from True Draco days. At the end of the battle phase, it shuffles all the back row in, and if this card, this is the only one that does this, if it leaves the board, or if it's sent to the graveyard, you draw a card. So it kind of replaces itself, which is very nice. I just want to have one of these in the main deck in case I was playing against back row heavy decks or whatever. I'm used to just playing against combo decks all the time, so having this in the main for the Time Maiden, speaking of Time Maiden, because Time Maiden searches all the 1-ups, so this card's the nuts. If you control no monsters, you can special summon it from your hand. It counts as 2 tributes for a Time Lord, or you can tribute this off the board to add a Time Lord from your deck to your hand. Also, it has an engrave effect where you can banish it to special summon a Time Lord from your deck, ignoring summoning conditions. Also, you can only use one of these effects per turn because you can't specialist tribute it to add a Time Lord, then banish the special from the deck. You can't just get 2 like that, unfortunately. Card's very good though. It's probably just one of the best cards, obviously, in the deck. And then for the for the Numeron engine, obviously you're playing 3 Numeron Wall. So this card, if you have no cards on your field, you can discard it, and it just activates, places Numeron Wall from your deck to your field spell zone. Not Numeron Wall, Numeron Network. During the battle phase, if you take damage, you have to take at least 1 damage, whatever. You can special summon it from your hand and end the battle phase. So this card is very nuts. It's also level 1, which is kind of nice to note. I thought this was kind of funny because these are fiends, and all the Time Lords are fairies. So like, play like Sky Scourge, Norlaros. Dude, Norlaros is like one of my favorite cards. That's it for the monsters. I'm not playing any hand traps. I'm going to show you what's up with the side deck / cards you could play if you would like to. Once again, on this channel, I just like to give you guys templates for what you want to do. So this is probably the best card in the deck outside of, Celestial Transformation, sir. So this can Celestial Transformation. So you can it's a quick play. Special summon a fairy from your hand, half its attack, and it's destroyed during the end of the turn. So all the Time Lords are 0 that you main deck except for the Sandion, which doesn't really matter, but they can't be destroyed by card effects, so this won't kill it. It's also just nice. I'm going to show you a little thing to do with this deck at the end. So there's multiple, and I'm going to talk about this in a minute, so I don't want to get too in depth with it, but that card's insane. So also, like, if they end up learning what you're playing and they make you go first, sometimes you can just set this, and then they'll be like, oh, dude, I need to play into this, and think it's something else, and then you just chain it to slap a Time Lord on the board, so you can't, get completely sloshed. And then 3 droplets. So this deck, there's multiple win conditions. I'm going to talk more about the win conditions at the end, but obviously the reason droplets is really good is because it clears off your board for Numeron Wall and negates everything. So like, even if you set this but you didn't use it, if they made you go first and you still have a card on the board, you can't Numeron Wall to make network. The Forbidden Droplet just clears off your board, so the Numeron Wall is just way better, obviously. And then 3 Dark Ruler. This card's just the nuts, like I mentioned with the Michion. It doesn't do damage, it just halves your opponent's life points, so you can just Dark Ruler them, attack, half their life points, etc. So, and then I am playing this. So I'm playing 3 Extravs. You could play the numbers card, which is in my honorable mentions, which I'll mention for you, or I'll show you, but it just I fucking hate it. It's just like a card that I don't like, because I always draw 2 of it, and then no Numeron Network, no wall, nothing to get the all the numbers out. Like, I just think this card's very, very good standalone. Obviously you can activate it, chain droplets, send it away as well. So, and then the most degenerate card in the deck, pretty Mystic Mine. I mean, mine with Time Lords is fucking gross. You can say it on here, babe. So, all the Time Lords when they're on the board during the standby that shuffle themselves back in the deck, if you have mine up and your opponent keeps passing and you just have 1 Time Lord up, it will still stay on the board. So it's kind of cool because it activates, so you can't shuffle the Time Lord back in the deck. But it's cool because like they have it's like a second line of defense, because like you'll have mine and a Time Lord. So they'll just be like, oh, I'm going to leave the fucking Time Lord, dude. And like if they play that game and they think they're going to long run you just because you have a Time Lord, they'll draw a droplet, eventually send your whole board, Numeron Wall, kill them, or Numeron Network, etc. But so like they have to out this and then the Time Lord in order to get to you, and then sometime you'll still have the Numeron Wall. So it's very nice. I still hate this card. This card's just fucking gross. All right, and then for the Numeron cards, 3 Numeron Network, and I think everyone knows what this card does by now, so I don't have to explain it. And then 2 Numeron Calling. I actually was playing one of these at the beginning, but I like to have the option of the second one, because I actually built the deck differently, as like a different line of play with the Numeron cards. Originally I was like, oh, you just Numeron Network once, summon your 4 guys, kill them. And then as I played, I was like, oh, dude, that happens like 60% of the time, so I was like, I want to back up at least. So I wanted to play 2 of these because I would like to do it again for the OTK, and I'll show you when I get to the extra deck what I'm talking about. So, then for the 1-ofs, obviously the Terraforming, a set rotation. These are just, you play a bunch of field spells, so you're going second. 1 Red Reboot. This is mainly for obviously the back row decks, but obviously like the Imperm on your Time Lord, just not very good. So you're like, no, and then see you later. And the last card, so Torrential Tribute. I want to talk about this card. So you're going second all the time, but the card's very good regardless. Like, this could be Imperm if you wanted it to, there's a bunch of traps that this can be good against because most decks are only main deck out to a Time Lord as a unicorn. So this could be like Needle Wall or whatever, because like if you have a Time Lord up, you know, if you have like Michion or whatever up, and you have the Torrential set, they'll establish 3 monsters, and you'll be like, oh, he's probably playing Unicorn to spin this and try and kill you. Sometimes you can Torrential on the 3 monsters. This will obviously live because it can't die by card effects. And then they have to rebuild again to Unicorn, or you can just hold it, and if they Unicorn the back row, obviously, or if they Unicorn this, that's fine, depending on what the deck, and then you can save this. So I feel like, once again, it's like two backup like defenses, like I mentioned with like the Mystic Mine and a Time Lord on board. It's very, the interactions are very strange and kind of cool, but you have to know what you're doing to play this deck. This deck took me a little while to figure out how I wanted to build it. And the 3 Torrentials, they are flexible for sure, and I will show you. I have quite a few honorable mentions after this. So, and obviously for the extra deck, I'm just playing 3-1, 3-2, 3 of the 3s, and 3 of the 4s. So obviously, since I'm playing Extravagance, I just want to have the max number. I think that's pretty good. And then the last 3 cards. So everyone knows about, you know, the homeboy, dude. The Megaclops is just very good card just to go into as your thing. But also, I'm going to show you the combo with Gustav Max to actually kill your opponent going second. It's a 3-card combo, unfortunately, but you know, sometimes it does come up. And then the last card is the Skull Dread. So like I was talking about with the calling, you'll get like 1 of each dude up. I think that's 1, 2, 3, 4. Yeah. Okay, so like, you know, you'll get 1 of each dude up, right? And if you don't kill them, or if you're going first, you can actually make this play because you're playing 2 callings. I know this conflicts with Extravagance, but then you can usually do this and then link all these off into the Skull Dread and then draw 4 and then set like Torrential, set your Celestial thing that summons a Time Lord from hand. Even going second, sometimes they won't out this, and you can just special a Time Lord from your hand with this effect. So, which is very nice. And I just want to show you real quick just how to game your opponent going second with the quote-unquote 3-card combo. It does come up. It's come up a lot for me. That's kind of why I was like, oh, I'm just going to include this. So these are the 3 cards you need for it. You need a Michion, a Sandion, and a Celestial Transformation. So you're going second, right? Okay. I'm the opponent. Let's just say I'm the opponent. They have monsters, so you'll normal summon the Michion or whatever. You'll go to battle phase. You'll attack any monster with the Michion, okay? And then in the battle phase, you'll activate the Celestial Transformation, special summon that Sandion from your hand, and then you'll attack with the Sandion, and then you'll go end a battle phase effect, and you'll chain link 1, chain link 2. So Michion will half them to 4,000, and Sandion will burn them for 2k, and then this will make obviously the Gustav Max, dude. So wherever it is. So this will make the Gustav for 2k. So it's exactly 8,000 damage. Just with the 3 cards. I was actually considering playing 3 more Sandions. I just like the Numeron engine actually does most of the work. The Time Lords are just there kind of for backup, but you know, like I said, I like to give you guys a template. You guys do what you wish with it. I just want to point out some things and stuff. So, and then for the cards that you could play, there's quite a few honorable mentions. For the extra deck, you could play the C Numeron. On Exceed Summon, it just banishes all monsters, including itself, and then it comes back during your standby phase and then burns for damage equal to each Exceed banished. So it usually does 3k damage. You make all 4 Numerons into Abramax or Appaloosa, you know, like I mentioned with the Skull Dread. And then for the extra deck, or for the other cards, how you should play this deck. So this is the main card. Obviously Nibiru. People are like, why aren't you maining this? This conflicts with both engines, but going second, if you win or lose a die roll, you'll side this in. You'll usually Nibiru them for a shitload for attack points via token, and then you'll get to the Raffion, and then the token will be so big you'll just attack it with Raffion, and then it burns them for the damage of the token. So try to get them over 8k. So this is kind of like your side deck, you know, option. You could even main Nibiru if you wanted to. I was maining Nibiru, but then the other cards, 2 more Zaphions just for back row decks. You know, another one of the Medions if you want. And then the Lazion. This card, the end of the battle phase, it shuffles all of your opponent's graveyard back in the deck, and then every time they draw a card, when they draw a card, it burns them for 1,000. So the card's very good. On certain formats, this would be the main one. That's kind of why I like this deck, is because like it just goes so hard in certain formats. Formats like this is kind of harder to build it, where there's so many decks. But if there was like 2-deck, 3-deck format, this would probably be one of the best rogue decks to choose. And then also, you know, you can play the Lava Golem. Lava Golem plus Numeron Network is game. So, go in second, you can Lava Golem them. You know, etc. Network for all 4 dudes. Tack. So, then the other spells you could play, the 1-for-1 and the Foolish. Foolish was better than 1-for-1 because I'm playing such a low playing such a low monster count that the 1-for-1 just wasn't a huge fan of. The Foolish Burial I think is better. Also, you can play the Harvey's Feather Duster along with the Magical Midbreaker Field, so they can't like target your dudes. Same with this card. You can play 3 of this, 1 of this. This just lets your dudes not be targeted, essentially. It's like one of those God cards. Obviously, so does this. So it just stops the Veiler, stops the Imperm on your Time Lords, which is very nice. And then the Hope card. This is the one where if you have all 4 Numerons up, you just draw 4. This card never agreed with me whatsoever. I fucking hate this card, but if you test with this and it works for you, by all means, please play this instead of Extravagance. This card's better than Extravagance in this list. It just didn't work for me. It's kind of like a Sideframe Gamma and Driver and all that bullshit. So, and then for the last cards, if they make you go first, if you win game 1, you want the Metaverse for the Mine or the Network. And then the Torrentials that I made, you could also have Imperms instead, or Needle Ceilings. I didn't put this. Needle Ceiling is also a good card because, like I said, they establish 3 monsters. You have a Time Lord. That's 4 total monsters, so you Needle Ceiling, your Time Lord lives, you're fine. Because you want to kind of stop the Unicorn. And then the last card, I actually kind of was going to main this, and then I decided against it. Solemn Judgment, because it's so bad going second, so I just didn't want to main it. Torrential at least has an application going second. That's why like you could play the Imperm if you wanted to going second, but yeah, guys. I hope you like my Timelord Numeron deck profile. Deck's actually very good. I hope somebody at least tests this and is like, oh, dude, nice, dude. Because it's good, dude. So, but like I said, you have to kind of pick and choose and be mindful of what you're doing in order to resolve everything. So, like, you know, just think about it harder. Because if your hand's like Network, Time Lord, you're going second, and you have like Dark Rule or whatever, what are you going to do? Like, it all depends on the matchup. It all depends on everything. So, it's a very mind gamey deck. So. Also, sometimes you can just play Mystic Mine, like I mentioned, and if they can't out it, you just draw until you have Droplet. Send the Mine away with Droplet, send other cards half every dude, and then kill them with the Numeron Network. But you know, it's just one of the game plans. But yeah, guys, thanks for watching. Hope you like my deck profile. Cheers.